Let's dive into the discussions shaping the nation.
Ceann Comhairle. It is an honour of a lifetime to stand in this historic chamber today to make my maiden speech to the Dáil, to a quiet Dáil. Firstly, I would like to thank the people of North Tipperary and North West Kilkenny for placing their trust in me and for giving me the privilege of being our collective voice in Dáil Éowyn. As one of the youngest members of this House, I made a promise to be a new, fresh and energetic voice for the people of North Tipperary and North West Kilkenny, and I intend to work every day to deliver for my area and the Irish people on key issues of local and national importance. I would like to thank the Fianna Fáil organisation in North Tipperary and North West Kilkenny for their support during the local and general elections last year, and to particularly acknowledge my family and friends for their support. It is a privilege to represent our party in Dáil Éowyn and to stand here today as a Fianna Fáil TD. I want us in this House and my party to have ambition for our future, for what we can collectively achieve as we move Ireland forward together. Ministers, the record storm-breaking extratropical cyclone Storm Éowyn did unprecedented damage to communities across this country. Power has been restored to about 750,000 homes, farms and schools and businesses by now, but there are still some 25,000 customers that remain without supply, and full restoration, as we know, could continue for a number of days yet. At this point, I would like to acknowledge the incredible hard work of our frontline staff, particularly the ESB and frontline workers, for braving the elements and working incredibly hard in very tough conditions to restore power and services at a scale that we have never seen in this country before. These workers left their families for extended periods of time. They went and worked in their own communities to get power restored before finally moving to other communities. But having spoken to ESB workers and their families in recent days, there were days on end there where some of those workers were going out into the community to restore power, to then come home to their own family and home in the evening, still without power. They brave elements after every storm, after the snowstorms which hit us bad in Tipperary also, and they truly do deserve to be acknowledged for that, along with their colleagues who have travelled here from Europe. I want this conversation today to also focus on the future, how this country is going to be equipped for future storms which we are bound to be impacted by. I very much welcome the government's action to establish emergency response hubs and the humanitarian assistance scheme for those worst affected by the storm damage. It is my view that planning must now be made for future emergency response hubs, so that in the event of a major power outage such as this again, our local authorities have the locations ready at short notice, but also the ability to communicate those locations to constituents when they're possibly not able to be communicated to due to lack of energy, due to lack of phone reception, etc. Fallen trees were obviously a major issue across the country. We saw it in North Tipperary in particular. The damage that was done by fallen trees has an awful lot to answer for due to the power outages. We must see a programme that allows for the fallen trees we must have a programme that allows for the felling of trees around power lines, particularly in areas where cables are running through forestry. We need to see programmes put in place for the maintenance of those. A lot of people have mentioned to me back home images in the media and ESB workers saying that they were essentially relaying cables what seemed like for the very first time. I believe Coillte, but also private forests have a lot to answer for in that, so that we ensure that the space around our cabling is much wider for future storms. The undergrounding of cables is also something that's been brought up to me, and I know that we're possibly behind our European counterparts in trying to get cables underground. That's not something we can do in an emergency response, but thinking about the future, I think that's something we have to consider. There's also roadside ditches and roadside trees. I think our local authorities, through government, need to be equipped to be able to enforce laws around that much more and protect both our power lines, our phone lines and our fibre optics. While the Minister for Forestry is here, I would like to raise ash dieback as well. This is something that's come up in this chamber and I know you'll be familiar with it. Farming organisations and forestry groups have been calling for a programme for the felling of ash trees for a number of years now. Every ash tree in this country is now a danger. The more storms we get, the more dangerous they are going to be. None of them are going to escape ash dieback. Our farmers need assistance both on roadside ditches where there is a public safety concern, but right across the board to be able to get rid of those trees. In my hometown of Nina, we saw the power go out in certain areas for to be fair, a short period of time, and we're very lucky about that. But the power was back a day, and then the water was gone in the town. So the businesses had to contend with that. Cafes and restaurants had to close. Shops couldn't continue operating. We need to see backup generators in every, for Irish Water, wherever they're needed.
Thank you, Deputy.
Like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.